Okay, we are continuing here. So let's tune back in to where we left off. Yeah, so this is about being aware of where you engage your frequency. Now, I re-listened to the tail end of the first video that I just did, and I want to make sure that this comes across, because the mind can take it in this way, and this is not how I mean. This is not what is being. This is not what is being transmitted and shared, expressed. If the mind takes it in a way as, oh, I could fail at this. You know, if what it hears about getting streamlined and about standing in your truth, otherwise you can't make it through the portal. I also wanted to talk about, you know, the image of the portal is, this is the this is the and this is just coming to me right now. You know, it's as we stream, as we go, this is just, that's how it's coming through. It's not precognized. So when we traverse threshold from one dimension to another, also, before a lower order reorganizes in a higher order, so it's like a physical body, a physical form, going through, traversing a threshold, going into a higher level of existence, a higher dimension, a higher octave, harmonic octave. What happens here is this old system, the way that it was organized, it falls apart. It falls into chaos. And on this side, or maybe that is the traversing, or the transition to the higher order. So before it goes into a higher order, it falls into chaos. Within the chaos is like letting go of the old system, which means there's no letting go to do. It's not like you have to let go, you have to let go. No, it happens when we see the truth. It happens when we recognize the truth of who we are. That already is letting go of the old, because the old is that habituated pattern that is from that conditioned mind. The mind that is conditioned within the separate self, within the avatar self, that is an imagination of self within the dimension of, we can say, 3D, but it's more than that. It's see, where we're coming from was an inverted 3D. So like the whole space-time vantage point that Earth Collective was coming from was a perception of consciousness. So it was like a box of conscious, a paradigm that was imprinted by inverted 3D, for the reasons, for, you know, I talk about that in all the so many previous videos. Now that's not this one is about. So in the transition phase, exactly. So it's not like, oh, maybe you can't make it, maybe you won't make it to the higher frequency. Everyone will make it. I'm going to tune in and say it from there, not from my inner standing. I want to say it from the soul stream, higher self. What wants to be said here? Yes, that there is, even when there is that possibility of derailing, that experience of derailing, of being derailed, of not making it through a portal, not making it through that transition. Because to make it through, you have to embody exactly those frequencies. That is what is the so-called making it through to the other side. It is you become the other side. You become what you already are on the other side, so to speak, you know. Um, there are already aspects of you. You are not separate from that within your multidimensional self that already exist in that bandwidth of frequency. You can also see it as your future self that is already there. Because it is within time that you experience your development toward that level of embodiment. And when it is activated within you, when you notice within you, and all of a sudden you notice a feeling comes upon you of as if you were already there, let's just say in paradise, or let's just say in a place that you long to be. But that place is not just a physical place on the planet. It's not just even a situation that you want to be in, let's say with your beloved sacred union partner, and you know, having a child, and having your beloveds close to you, having your kin, your tribe, also accessible to you, and living, you know, having more interaction with them. All of this, you know, like living in that higher dimension already. It's not never, even though the 3D self sees it this way, it is not about the situation or the location. It is not about having that, you know, having the partner, having your own family, having your kin, having your tribe. I'm just going to placate it now. Um, all of that is not what is giving you this feeling of connectedness, this feeling of, in a way, in a sense, it's a feeling of a high. It's a high feeling because it's a higher frequential existence. It is that a feeling of like almost fragrance of magic, a fragrance of like when something really, really, you know, you can only remember it. You can't really remember it because you've never experienced that in your physical body. You may have touched upon it. You may have touched upon it through induction of some kind of that you took some kind of aid, induced it, and then been able to touch upon that frequency. But that is not the same, and it's not the same experience. It just gives you a kind of a glimpse of flavor. But because it's not organic and you're not there yet, and you kind of used a bridge that wasn't within you, it still, it gives you something that you can imagine it now, but it's not even as good as that. The real thing, yeah, the real thing is not even, you know, it's just a way to be able to imagine it, because we've come so far away from that. Also, it's not in the situation, it's not in the location, it's in ourselves. It's a frequency within ourselves that we have never embodied in this body before. And it's a matter of being. It's a matter of how we feel as being ourselves. And first then we would be a match to that kind of a situation, to that kind of a location. All right. Okay, we got off tangent. Where were we? Where were we coming from? Wow, I really lost the string now. Wait. You take over. what did I want to say from the soul stream? Ah, yes, exactly. About being able to, oh, I'm not able to ascend. Okay. I'm not gonna make it if I don't get streamlined. If I don't do, if I don't have enough, to what level? Enough awareness of my thoughts. If I'm not awake enough, if I can't wake up enough, then I won't make it. I won't make it. That is so far away from the truth. That whole frequency is still coming from fear, is still coming from that um, third dimensional duality level of duality, level of density, level of perspective. And so whenever you feel an anxiety, even when you hear these words, and your mind will interpret it in the way that this is why I'm saying this now very, very clearly, because this is never where I'm coming from. If this is what you're getting, that is never what is being shared and expressed. So it seems a bit contradictory to coming from the third dimensional perspective, but that is why we need to say that, or we don't need, we want to say there is never anything to lose, because only those will make it through, will embody where that is, that it is time, it is organic, it is like a flower that is ready to blossom. And those that won't make it through to the next dimensional level never were meant to, never intended to. It's not written, it's not written, it's not their time, it's not their place, it's not their role, it's not where they're at. They're perfectly fine where they're at. Even if they're not aware of it. Even if they don't feel fine, because there is still a lot of identification, there's still a lot of identification with the 3D avatar self, with a separation level self that keeps them in a certain frequency of anxiety, or us, because there are aspects of us that are still there as well. Okay. The difference is, okay, so what really wants to be said is, you cannot miss your mark. You cannot miss your train. You cannot miss ascension. Oh dear. Another 27,000 years. That is a story only within that very deep asleep dream of that level of duality and divide from soul, from the true being, the soul, and source. So any kind of anxiety running through your body is an energy that has been compressed into the body. It needs to have the space of the nervous system to unwind, to be able to unwind. And so when you know that, when you are engaging in any kind of narrative, it doesn't matter whether it's on the personal level or whether it's on the collective level, in any kind of narrative that triggers anxiety, where you get locked into the narrative and you think, okay, something very dangerous now is happening. And on that level of seeing it, on that level of existence, of frequency, it really seems that way. And the only way to get out of that, because otherwise it will repeat and repeat and repeat until we wake up. That's why it's happening. Everything is happening now. It's not even in order to. It's just what that's the system, how it works, what it looks like. Everything is waking up. Not to the same degree, not to the same level, in accordance to where their soul essence is on their soul's journey, where it is playing. The bandwidth within what its form, its densest form, is ready to play in. Its densest form has, through the experience that it has gone through, constantly is expanding in consciousness, and that's to that degree where it is going to expand and going to raise in consciousness. It can only go so far. As it is within its own framework, each individual's framework of possibility. And there is the higher frequencies are not any better than the lower frequencies at all. It's not to say this is a more worthy experience than the lower frequencies. That doesn't make any sense. Although, when you're seeing it from the perspective of, at least definitely from inverted 3D, this is the interpretation of the mind. This is how the mind will see it. That's how the filter is designed. How is a toddler, a baby, a toddler, a 5-year-old, how is that in any way lesser intelligent, lesser evolved, lesser conscious than a 20-year-old, a 40-year-old, a 70-year-old? Or animals? And now we're talking on the soul level. We're not talking on the level of the worldly level. We're not talking on the stage how that is. That is why I'm using this parable. It has to do with maturity, and that is an organic process. And onto itself. So there is no, even when we speak from lower and higher, there is no difference in value. However, when we are on a higher level, and from the highest level that we embody, the lower frequencies, they don't feel good. The compression doesn't feel good. And that is our own individual, unique process and journey to recognize what is happening. And that means to wake up out of that spellbound into that that part of our mind where our energy is asleep in, where our consciousness is asleep in, and it's the part of the mind that offers the filter of the inverted 3D, of a great separation and of this whole narrative. And that's why what we want to bring forth is to say, now that that's clear, no one can miss their marks.